Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have another video on my 1986 Mustang SVO, specifically the challenge of worn out ball joints and replacement options on these cars. Back in the fall of 2013, my 86 Mustang SVO started feeling squirrely on the straightaways. When I originally bought the car in 2004, I replaced the steering rack, inner and outer tie rods, as well as the steering shaft and rag joint. By 2013, the steering system was still tight, and I had accumulated less than 40,000 miles on the replacement parts. My SVO had just about 130,000 miles on the clock. It turned out that the ball joints were wearing out. The Mustang SVO is somewhat of a parts bin car. Unlike the normal Mustangs of the same era, the SVO lower control arms were sourced from the 82/83 Lincoln Continental for better handling due to a bit wider track width. These lower control arms also allowed the SVO to use the Continental's larger 10.91 and 5-lug front disc brake setup versus the 4-lug 10.1-inch rotor on the GTs. The SVO control arms are a cast steel part with a stamped steel spring pouch that's riveted to the A-arm. The original SVO ball joints were not designed to be serviceable. Back in the day, SVO owners used to just replace the whole lower control arm, but those parts have not been available from Ford for many, many years. Note that the SVO ball joints don't have a Zerk grease fitting. Instead, there's a wear indicator button on the bottom that should extend below the body of the ball joint. If the button is flush or indented, it indicates that the ball joint is on its last legs, as mine was. There are basically three ways to fix worn out ball joints on the SVO. Number one is to find a new old stock or good set of used lower control arms, which is virtually impossible at this point in time. Number two is to change out the stock SVO LCAs with a 99-04 Mustang lower control arm and use a Maximum Motorsport spindle adapters. This option has both positive and negatives. LMR has a pretty good write-up on their website for this option, which I've linked in the video description. Number three is to custom machine the stock lower control arms to accept an SN95 ball joint for 99 and up Mustangs. There may also be a few third-party suppliers on the internet that can sell replacement lower control arms, but I haven't researched those options, so you're on your own if you want to go down that route. All three of the options are viable alternatives, but I wanted to keep the stock ride height, and handling of my SVO. Note that the SN95 control arm spring pockets are not in the same location, not as deep. So the stock springs would need to be cut to correct the ride height, which increases the stiffness, and there goes the stock ride. The other solution is to go with a set of aftermarket lowering springs, again more changes to the ride and handling. Previously, another member of the SVO Club of America had posted about machining out the stock SVO lower control arms to accept the SN95 ball joints. So I went with option number three with some major assistance from a coworker that helped me with the machine shop expertise. First, I took care of the disassembly and removal of the lower control arms from my car. And as with most turbo Fords, my car seems to spend a lot of time up on jack stands. Here are the previously mentioned wear indicators. As you can see, mine were on their way out as they were flush or slightly sunken in. Here both lower control arms have been gutted of the original ball joints. The original ball joint assembly is inserted from the bottom, and then a cover plate with the wear indicator was installed. So the bottom side of the lower control arm needs to be milled just to get the OEM guts out. I originally ordered a set of replacement ball joints for a 1984 to 1987 Lincoln Continental. However, the guy in the machine shop was concerned with the amount of material that would have to be removed, so instead we used the SN95 ball joints from Napa. Here's a comparison between the larger diameter Continental versus the SN95 ball joints. And here's a quick comparison of the 3 ball joints. To use the SN95 ball joints, you need to order a set of adapters from Maximum Motorsports. These adapters make up the difference in the taper diameter so that the smaller SN95 ball joints fit the stock SVO spindles. And here's a few pictures comparing the fitment. First picture is a stock ball joint. This picture shows the SN95 ball joint with the Maximum Motorsport adapters installed. Once we settled on the SN95 ball joint, the balance of machine work commenced on the stock lower control arms. The lower control arms were slightly undersized, between 1 1,000th and 15 10,000ths for a snug fit. Here's a picture of the replacement ball joints pressed in after the machining work. Note that I reused my stock A-arm and sway bar bushings as they seemed okay. The only thing that I did replace was the end links on the sway bar, which were sourced from Napa. Finally, here's a picture of the completed lower control arms reinstalled in my SVO. And now it's back down on all fours. Once the work was completed, I took the SVO out for a quick test drive. The new ball joints were definitely worth the effort. The car now drives and feels amazingly tight. I took the SVO up over 70 on some back roads near me, and the SVO went straight as an arrow with no issues. Didn't feel like it was going to wander or dart at all. So, mission accomplished. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the like button and feel free to comment below. I generally respond to all the comments. And thanks for watching.